Hello, I am Vision. This is Epic Tabletop when we strive to, well, we strive. Anyway, today, as we are almost at an end of 2024, I would like to discuss a few things with you. Well, future. In front of me, you can see my whole collection. Whole recent collection. That basically, it's the most what I have. I've took it out because actually I'd never counted it. And the other reason is that I used to count models that I painted throughout the year, but I dropped it like 2 years ago. And to be perfectly honest, if I was to choose what I did this year, I'm not so sure. So this is kind of like a clean slate. I'm going to catalog somewhat everything. And at the end of the next year, I will know how many miniatures I actually painted. The other thing I want to discuss with you is even more important. It's the future. Future of this channel and what I do. I think I have a pretty unique perspective on things, and namely on the battle reports. I don't think anyone is doing them the way I do. And I think there is an unoccupied space for this kind of battle reports. So like a narrative approach with the special effects and everything, but still with enough mechanics so everyone can understand what is actually happening. So right now we will go through, very briefly, but I will show you the whole collection. On subcategories of this collection, and you can hint me in the comments if any of it is something that you would like to see on channel. Like battle reports, adding more units, building an army, and this kind of stuff. And I will actually, like I said, for the beginning of the year, I already had some directions, although there is a place for some, movement. So I will ask your advice, which way you would like me to go, to proceed. Okay, now without further ado, let us take a look at my collection, and in the end, of course, I will give you some numbers because I'm kind of like interested in the numbers myself. Let's go.
Please remember that if you are interested in a particular part of the material, you can use progress bar and timestamps visible there to jump to any video chapter that you desire. Also, if you like what you see and hear, please remember to subscribe. It costs only a few seconds of your time and means a world to me.
Okay, so starting with my historical collection, here are my Celts. They were made to represent Gauls, but of course they can easily be ancient Britons, and I would also use them as Galatians if need arose. In the ancient department, I have late Republican Romans along with some allies from Spain and Thrace. Jumping forward a few years, here are my Dark Age or early medieval Scots. I actually treat them as Picto Scottish foes. Beside them are a few Vikings, and then two warbands of 12th/13th century knights along with their retainers. Another few years forward, and we have my Renaissance army that I was presenting recently. If you haven't seen it, links to those materials are in the description section down below. Now we enter a modern era with 18th century army of British Empire for the American War of Independence. Beside the English, we have few Napoleonic Poles and even fewer Austrians from the same period. This is followed by a sample of Bavarian troops from Franco-Prussian War of 1870. Keeping with the second half of 19th century, I have a Union Army for American Civil War. Now we are in the 20th century and we have World War II Italians aimed at the war in the desert. And Americans aimed at the broader World War II application. Now we switch to fantasy realms and we have humans for Kings of War. This is followed by my Grudgebringer army along with its allies for Warhammer setting. By setting I mean the old world, yes, but not only. For the Warhammer still there is my Orcs and Goblins army, well, mostly Goblins for now. And then we have what is left of my Gloomspite Gits for Age of Sigmar. Most of the goblins joined the Old World army. This is followed by Iron Jobs for Age of Sigmar again. Here I foreseen some of the boys leaving to join their brethren in the Old World setting. Small forces of ogres for Age of Sigmar. I can't imagine me playing AOS again, but I got interested in this Spearhead thing. Would you guys like to see some battle reports from Age of Sigmar Spearhead rule set? Let me know in the comments. My Blood Bowl team of Orcs. Followed by minis created for Frostgrave skirmish game, similar somewhat in feel and size to famous Mordheim. My small Isengard force for Middle-earth strategy battle game, and possibly other rule sets. Here it is a force which I am very fond of, Skaven for Warhammer and Ratkin for Kings of War in one. Now some monsters and 2 warbands created in mind with Forbidden Psalm rule set. This is followed by some cowboys and soldiers along with some vampires and werewolves for Dracula's America. This set transitions us to science fiction setting in which we have space orcs rooted in Warhammer 40k, but very unlikely they will ever see this rule set again. One-page rules is my game of choice to simulate 40k. Same goes for these Necrons. And this Mechanical Swarm, and I mean, to be precise, I'm not ruling out Kill Team, which I actually enjoyed. We'll see. Genestealers, same principles for them, although they were actually created for Necromunda. Now, few projects in scales older than 28mm. Steam-powered ships from the turn of the 20th century. Here we have US Navy ships and Spanish fleet. This comes from a game called Gods of War Togo. Game from a small Polish company, really worth some attention if you fancy ship-to-ship battles. Few tanks in 15mm scale created for What a Tanker game. And lastly, small force of Napoleonic Austrians in 20mm. And that's pretty much it. So, few numbers now. In total on the table there is 1,867 miniatures / models. For the most part, like 90%, these were painted in the last 10-year period. To be honest, I'm not very impressed with myself. I would think I did more. My highest recorded score was 335 miniatures / models in 2020. I will aim at 400 this year. What do you guys think? How many do you paint on average per year? When it comes to the biggest single army, I think you can guess it because it shows. Primacy holds my Union Army for American Civil War. It has 255 minis. My Renaissance Swiss are close behind though with 211 and are sure to suppress Union troops in the coming year. Now about what I said earlier. I would like you to help me decide how to proceed. For the moment I'm working on continuation of a certain subject that is grossly overdue. I don't want to talk about it yet, but it is in the same category as two of my most popular battle reports on the channel. Afterwards I'll be doing Renaissance battle reports. Like I said, I want to do 3 at last, unless the first one will do poorly in terms of being watched and commented, that is. And then, well, there are 3 parts we can choose. Firstly, I can continue with Renaissance, meaning I will expand my Swiss and will start working on early 16th century Spanish army. This would result in army building videos, some terrain creating, possibly, and more battle reports. Second option is Midgard heroic battles. I am planning a battle report, Romans versus Gauls, but then I would like to dwell deeper into this rule set. I want to build an army from the turn of 12th and 13th century for it. I am aiming at the Third Crusade and the clash between Richard and Saladin, which seems like a very appropriate theme for rule sets such as this. This subject would consist of quite a few varied materials concerning army building, and what I mean is actual army construction using the Midgard rules, printing it and answering a question in the process: is it worth it to buy a 3D printer for printing historicals? Then building an actual army, meaning basing it, painting it, and so on. And of course, battle reports. Third option is early 19th century and of course Napoleonics. I have, well, as a proof of concept, I have painted one Duchy of Warsaw battalion, and I'm itching to paint more and start a massive army. My main gaming partner got a little ahead of me with his Austrians. Right. There was more than 500 minis on that picture and it was infantry only. Undoubtedly, I have some catching up to do. So, this is a big thing. Of course, I will start smaller. I'm planning 5 more infantry battalions, 2 cavalry squadrons and some artillery. I am planning on making whole Duchy of Warsaw army, but this will happen gradually. First I will create the force I have mentioned and do some playing with various rule sets, namely LaSalle and Soldiers of Napoleon for starters, then we'll see. So these are the three options. I mean, I will most likely pursue all of them at some point or another, but I would like you to help me choose what to focus on first. So again, as follows. First option, stay with Renaissance. Second option, Midgard rules and 12th century knightly army. Third option, Napoleonics. Please let me know in the comments which option would you like me to begin with. Now a word of further explanation. Me focusing on one of those projects doesn't mean that all other subjects will be totally absent from the channel. It means that big projects, such as other two that will not be chosen, will not be pursued by me at this time. But some unrelated topics and materials like reviews or some odd battle report will still appear on the channel. With this, I'll leave you. May all the dice rolls favor you in the coming season. May the paint flow from your brush flawlessly, supporting the growth of your armies. I wish you all a very happy New Year. Cheers, till next time.